Hello, everybody. Dr. Mark here, coming to you live from the Northgate Family Chiropractic recording studio. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This is a little bit new for us. We've done some online videos before, but never a webinar just like this. So yeah, you saw our thing here. So we are doing spring cleaning here in the office, right? So spring has sprung. So now it's time. We're going to take a hard look at the toxins in our life. Where in our life can we start cleaning up different areas of our life, and where are we seeing these toxins? And you know, the big theme for this next season for us here in Northgate Family Chiropractic is that we are detoxing our lives, right? And so a lot of times we think about toxins as opposed to when it comes to environmental things coming in from the outside. But today we're really going to dive into where are these toxins coming from? What are they doing in our bodies? How are we going to minimize those toxins so that we can live the fullest, best lives possible? And you know, one of the things that we do here in our office, like, we are on a mission, right? We are on a mission to transform the way that people view and manage their health. And the reason why that we are doing that is just because we recognize that people simply cannot be the best versions of themselves when you're sick, when you're tired, when you're in pain, when you have chronic disease, whatever that looks like. You can't be the person that you want to be. You can't do the things that you want to do in life if you don't have your health. So today we're really going to be diving into one of the 5 essentials of health, which is minimizing your toxins. So bear with me as we're going through this PowerPoint thing. This is new to me. If you know me at all, I am not great with technology, but we're going to give it a go, right? So spring cleaning, here we go, detoxing your life. And so let's start with this. Why is this important? Why are we talking about cleaning up our lives? And you know, the average person, and this is crazy to me, is that the average person is exposed to over 2 million toxins every day, right? And that's just so crazy, just because, like, where the heck are all these toxins coming from? How in the world are we exposed to over 2 million of them? And the problem is that they have all these toxins that they come in, they have such a huge impact on our overall health and our ability to heal and live that fullest life that God intended for us. So big concept here that we really need to land first and foremost is that your body is already designed with the ability to detoxify itself. Right? I think that's so cool. God created this system in your body that it's able to rid you of toxins. Now, one of the problems is that when we're constantly exposed to literally millions of toxins every single day, there becomes a threshold that your body simply cannot detox as much as it's coming in. Your body can't get rid of all those things going out. And so, real simple example of this, like, I used to live in Florida, right? And so in Florida, we used to go offshore fishing all the time. And if you know anything about boats, there's what's called a bilge pump. So it's this small little pump that stays in the bottom of the boat. And anytime any water comes into the boat, right, that's a bad thing. You don't want water inside the boat. You want the water outside the boat. So when the water starts coming in, this bilge pump is designed to pump that water out. Now, one time I was fishing, and by no fault of my own, just kidding, it was my fault. But a big wave came over the back of the boat, and then all of a sudden there was a ton of water in my boat. Now, my bilge pump immediately kicked on and started pumping out that water. But you better believe that I did everything possible to get all that extra water out, because if I was just relying on my boat's ability to get the water out, it wasn't going to happen fast enough. The next wave was going to come and overtake the boat, right? So I did everything possible. So when we're exposed to all these different toxins in our life, at some point, we have to make sure, number one, that we are minimizing the amount of toxins that come into our lives. And number two, that we're doing everything possible to get those toxins out as quickly as possible. Otherwise, the boat's going to sink, or you're going to lose your health and not be able to live that best life possible. So let's do this. Why is this important? Why do we care that all these toxins are coming in? And why do we care that we need to get them out? So basically it breaks down to this is, anytime that toxins come in, they damage your body. So one big concept that I want to go through the entire talk here today is hormone balance, right? Your body is incredible. Not only is it able to detoxify, but your body is capable of creating every single chemical that you will ever need in your entire life. right? As long as your body's functioning properly. And we'll talk about that later. But basically, those chemicals are called hormones, right? We've all heard of hormones before, but hormones control every aspect of your life, right? From your mood, your energy levels, your ability to lose weight, your ability to it controls your appetite, your sex drive, reproductive system. All these different things are controlled by your hormones. Now, the problem is that when any chemicals come in from the outside, any toxic chemicals, it disrupts your body's natural hormone balance. And so all of a sudden, we have all these perfect hormones that are being disrupted, and no longer is your body able to process the world and go through the normal cycles, and go through the normal ebbs and flows of life, all because it has created a hormone imbalance from the toxins coming in from the outside. It's called homeostasis. So homeostasis basically means that there is a chemical balance in your body. Everything's functioning properly. Everything's healthy and happy. So any chemical that comes in from the outside has the potential to disrupt that homeostasis. So it becomes essential if you want to be balanced with your hormones, balanced with your energy levels, ability to lose weight, that we're minimizing the toxins that come in from the outside. Now, obviously, that's going to have a huge impact on reproductive health. And more and more in our office as a health center, we see people coming in and their main complaint isn't low back pain, isn't neck pain, isn't headaches that you would normally would relate to chiropractic. Their problem is that they're coming in with reproductive issues, like women having a wonky hormones, right? Or women having abnormal cycles, or even going through that second hormone change later on in life, having a really difficult time with it. Men in particular, there's been studies done that men's sperm counts on average are plummeting, going straight through the floor, and has everything to do with these chemicals and toxins coming in from the outside. So huge thing here, especially as it pertains to children, is neurotoxins. So many of the chemicals that we're talking about here today, they actually are toxic specifically to your nervous system. And by nervous system, I mean your brain and the nerves that run your entire body. Now, what happens when these chemicals that come in from the outside, they start disrupting your nervous system? All of a sudden, it disrupts your child's ability to grow, to develop, to manage the world, to respond to the world. So next thing you know, you have all these issues like ADHD, right? So if you're feeding your kid these neurotoxins, how in the world can you expect them to sit down, be still, do math problems, right? When you're feeding them all these negative things. And so long term, that has a huge impact on just your child's ability to process the world and grow and develop into a normal, healthy, happy adult living out their best life. So kids are going to be a big concept that we're talking as we're going along. Now, what does that look like? What does toxic damage in our life look like? So even things like cancer, right? So especially as we're talking about toxins coming in from the outside, talking about hormone health, hormone-driven cancers, things like breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer are largely driven by toxicity. Reproductive health, developmental disorders, neurological issues in your children, ADHD, autism, asthma, that kind of stuff, even nerve issues. So again, neurotoxins obviously is going to have a huge impact on your nervous system. So if you're experiencing things like sciatic pain, numbness, and tingling, obviously that's going to be worsened anytime that you have a neurotoxin coming in. Thyroid and adrenal dysfunction. This is huge, right? Your thyroid gland, so many people come into our office having issues with their thyroids. And one of the biggest reasons why is how toxic they are, how many chemicals they're being exposed to, because your thyroid that sits right here in your throat is largely driven by chemicals. And and so anytime those toxins are coming in from the outside, it's going to be damaging that organ that's designed to help run and heal your body. Headaches and migraines is a huge one. Eczema in children, that's literally children's bodies trying to detoxify themselves through their skin. The normal processes, the normal pathways stopped working because there's too many toxins coming in. So eczema is literally the toxins exploding out of the skin. Your body's trying to get it out of them. Weight loss resistance. People have been eating incredibly well for months and months and still haven't lost any weight at all. A lot of times the problem is toxicity, right? Chemicals coming in from the outside. Now, if we know the problem, we also know the solution, right? So the solution is to fix what caused the problem. So if all these things are caused by toxins from the outside, the solution is to eliminate and minimize the toxins that are coming in. Let's do this, jump right into this, just because, at this point, a lot of people say, well, my mom had thyroid issues, my great-grandma had thyroid issues, my grandma had breast cancer, it must be my genes, right? Research has been done, especially on cancer in particular. For the past 60 years, we've spent trillions of dollars researching not just cancer, but all chronic diseases, and the results are all pointing at the same thing. Right, the studies say that less than 5% of chronic disease is truly genetic in nature. That means 95% of chronic disease is attributed to diet and toxins in particular, and also your nervous system and chiropractic care, but we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But that means that it is not your genes that are causing the problem, it is your lifestyle. And if it's your lifestyle, then you're going to be able to, if all you did was change your lifestyle, same thing, you fix what caused the problem in the first place, and then you're going to allow your body to have a much better chance of not developing those chronic diseases, not developing the pains, the things that your family has suffered with. Now, please hear me well, because if your grandma, your aunt, your mom, all three had breast cancer, you probably have some genetic predisposition that you might have breast cancer. But if you want a different result than your family, you just need to live a radically different lifestyle. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking here today. So you have control over the outcomes in your life, all because you can control your diet, your lifestyle, the toxins that are coming in. So again, this is exactly what I just said. If you want a different outcome, you have to do something different than everyone else, right? And so if you take a big step back and you look at our country and you just look at the things that are going on around, I think we can all agree, right? Raise your hand if you agree here. As a country, we are sick and we keep getting sicker. Right? And I'm not going to throw numbers and stats at you. Easiest way to see it is just comparing us to even just 10 years ago, right? So compared to 10 years ago, there is more cancer, there is more heart disease, there's more diabetes, organ failure, there's more dementia, there's more reproductive issues. Childhood diseases are through the roof. They're quadrupled in the past decade, or past 20 years anyway, right? So what the heck is going on? Because we're spending more money. We take more drugs than ever in history. We take more drugs than any other country on the planet. We spend more money, we have more doctors, we have more specialists, but still we keep getting sicker. So we don't want the conventional outcomes. So we have to start exiting what the conventions are of our world. So if you step back and look at it, everything that we're going to be talking about here today is just the way that the world lives and the standards of our world, and we're not going to be doing that anymore. Right? Because we don't want those standard outcomes. We want a life of health, happiness, wholeness that God intended for us, not a life of sickness, disease, medications, nursing homes, drugs, all those sorts of things. So we are exiting conventional. So no longer are we living according to the norms of our world. So let's do this. We are going to go through what the top toxins are in our environment. Where did they come from? Where did they go? Either way, sorry guys. So where do they come from? The problem here is that they come from everywhere, right? So they come from your food, from your water, from the environment, literally the air that you breathe, the products that you rub on your skin every single day, the cleaners that you're spraying your house with. You think you're doing this great job at cleaning your house, but you're also getting a ton of chemicals that are coming in with those cleaners. Plastics, right? There are plastics everywhere. And we're going to talk about all these things and how we're going to flip the script and stop living that conventional lifestyle. And we're going to start living a life of wholeness the way that God intended us to. Let's start here. Cleaners, especially in the past year, this has become a huge topic of conversation, just because nowadays we're cleaning everything in ways that we never have before. And I have nothing against being clean. Hygiene is a huge thing. The turn of the century, everything started, hygiene got better, right? There was less fecal matter in the streets. There horse-drawn carriages weren't all over the place. Sewage got way better. Bacteria was way down, just because we were living cleaner, healthier lifestyles. Our water supply was much better. And you saw diseases like viruses and bacteria, they dropped through the floor, all because we started living cleaner lives. Now, the problem comes is, number one, when we're over cleaning, and number two, the types of cleaners that we're using. because more often than not, the cleaners that we're using have harsh chemicals in them. Things like ammonium, things like chlorine, formaldehyde, things of those nature. So even when you're doing a really great job of cleaning up your home, cleaning up your life, there's still all these things that are coming in into your body just because all these chemicals are coming in. So the EPA says that there are 70,000 different types of chemicals that come into our bodies commercially. And that what they found is that there are so many different toxic chemicals in our cleaners that your home has become up to 100 times more toxic than the outside. Right. And that might not be a surprise to you. Yeah, obviously going outside, breathing fresh air is going to be better for you than breathing anything inside. But problem comes is when the winter months roll around, when it's snowing outside, when it's cold outside, we're spending way more time indoors, spending very little time with the doors open, windows open. Also, when you're sick. Right. So let's say you got diagnosed with COVID. Now, all of a sudden, the government tells you have to stay home for however long. Right now, you're sick. Your immune system is struggling and fighting as hard as it possibly can. And you're staying home in one of the most toxic environments in your life. Right. That's not a great idea, at least in my own opinion. So at some point, we have to take a step back and look at what are these chemicals that we're using to clean our house with. Disinfectants. So this is another thing that has jumped through the roof in the past year, right? We're disinfecting everything. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of why we should not be killing all the viruses, all the bacteria, just because the vast majority of them are essential to life and health here on Earth. So the fact that we're killing all of them is going to lead to terrible repercussions in the future. But that's not why we're here. We're talking about chemicals and toxins in our life. And the problem is that when we're rubbing our skin, we're killing those bacteria, killing the viruses. Those disinfectants often come with things like fragrances, right? Different smells. You don't want to be smelling like alcohol all day long. So you get some nice lavender smell. Different colors, right? So many of the disinfectants that we're using are very colorful, and they also have what are they called? They also have things that suspend the liquid so that it becomes more of a gel, right? And so problem is that these fragrances, these colorings have a huge impact on our health because they're so toxic to us. So I am a huge believer in utilizing every resource possible. Right. So nowadays, it used to be when I was first starting on my health journey and trying to figure all this stuff out, it was really hard to find information. But nowadays, it has become so much easier to find good information. So this is a resource that I want all of us to start utilizing. So you see a QR code here. Basically, that means if you take your phone, and you pull up your camera, and I'm going to do it with you. Take your phone, pull up your camera, and just hover over this thing, and then there should be a link that pops up on the very top corner. So take the time. It's going to be really hard if you're watching this on your phone, but take the time to go back and do this later on if you can't do it now. And this is going to take you to a website called ewg.org. That is the Environmental Working Group.org. Right. And so right away, this QR code takes you to this awesome home guide. So you see there on the left, it says home guide, visit now, or you can go up to the top left corner here. It says top products. So if you click that guy, it's going to send you to a list of the best products to use. So I want you guys to go through that list, and you can even search for the ones that you have. So go home, look at the things that you have in your pantry that you've been cleaning your house with day in and day out, and just check. Right, just see if they're good. And Dr. Lauren and I, we strive to be as clean and healthy as possible. And sometimes we still get sucked into the marketing campaign. So I went through and I was checking literally everything in our house. Right, so I was checking everything in our house to see how healthy it was. And there was one cleaner that we use for our countertops. Right, so it's stainless steel and granite countertop cleaners, and so I was looking at it, going through, and I found that it scored an F. Right, it completely failed, and so immediately I was like, "Why the heck did we buy this?" And I started looking at the marketing on the front of it. It's like, "Holy cow! They did such a good job making it seem like this thing was so healthy." It's like everything's recyclable. It's great for the environment. It's plant-based. Just on and on and on. It has all these special certifications from all these different places, but at the end of the day, it still had all these toxins that we're exposing ourselves to. And you think about that, if you're spraying your countertop with all these different clean cleaners and chemicals, obviously you're going to end up ingesting some of those. It's going to be disrupting your hormones, disrupting your health, all because we didn't check. So go through this list, look at the top ones, start replacing. So we are exiting from the conventional Lysols and bleach cleaners, and we're going to start looking to things that are much healthier, much more in alignment with how God created us. We're going to come back to this. So number one thing that we went through, so looking at household cleaners, daily cleaners. Now, cosmetics. I will be honest, this is not my area of expertise, right? So the way I clean, the way I go about things is that I have one shampoo, one body cleaner that I just pour all over, right? And so this would be a great conversation to have with the team up front or with Dr. Lauren in particular. But basically, we're talking about beauty products, right? So all the things that you rub on your skin day in and day out. And I don't want to limit this here to just cosmetics, just because anything that you put on your skin is going to be absorbed, right? Your skin is your largest organ, and it is your number one. It's your first line of defense against toxins coming in from the outside. So we have to be so careful with the things that we're putting on our skin, making sure that there's not harsh chemicals in them. So think about this: your shampoo. So if you're sitting there in the shower, you're taking a warm shower, it's opening up all your pores, and then you take a shampoo that's full of all these toxins, and you're literally pouring it straight on your head, right? With those open pores, you're pouring those toxins straight into your bloodstream, and it's getting absorbed. So obviously that's going to have a huge impact on your health. But one really interesting study, they went through and they studied 50 different beauty products, so different makeups, eyeliners, lip balms, different things of that nature. And this is the list down here that you see is what they found in those things. So 96% of them contain lead. Right, and I don't know if you guys know this, but lead's bad for you. 90% of them contain beryllium, 61 thallium, 51% cadmium, 20% contained arsenic, so rat poison. So these are the things that you're putting on your skin every single day. Here we go again. So back to the EWG, the Environmental Working Group. Same thing. Go ahead and scan this and start looking up your beauty products. Now, I will say this about the Environmental Working Group. These guys are awesome. And not only do they have an incredible website that you can individually go and look up lists and better, good, better, best kind of stuff, but they also have an app. So I highly recommend using this app because the app has a barcode scanner. And I think it's the coolest thing in the world. When I discovered this app, I literally started scanning everything. And I was shocked to figure out or to find all the different chemicals that I thought were great, all the products that I thought were great that were actually causing me and my wife harm. Right, so consider going and looking at that app just because it's going to give you so much insight into things, and you're going to be able to avoid the schemes of marketers, the schemes of people trying to push products on you, and you're going to be able to dive into those ingredients because it gets very confusing when you're looking at a laundry list of chemicals and you have no idea what any of them are. Right. And it is not my passion in life to know what all those chemicals are. And I doubt it's yours, maybe a couple of you, but use that app and go scan everything. And before you put anything on your skin, anything in your body, know exactly how good it is for you and make sure that you're not causing your body more harm than good. Moving on. So the next, one of the next sources of toxins in our life is called polytetrafluoroethylene, right? PTFE. It's basically Teflon, right? And so non-stick cookware. Now the problem with this is, and a lot of people say, well, that's not a problem, and it, to a degree, it's not. Because the non-stick stuff isn't just coming into you in droves, it's coming into you in micro doses. But anytime that we're talking about hormones, we're talking about the thinnest line that we're between health and balance and health, and dysfunction and disorder and disease. So even the tiniest amount of toxin coming in, and it's going to disrupt that health and hormone balance in your body. So we have to start thinking about where all of the sources of toxins are coming from. Because imagine if we just went from 2 million to 1 million toxins that we're exposed to, and then from 1 million to 500,000. That becomes much more, your body's much more capable of controlling that amount of toxins than exposing us to all these things. So again, it always comes down to minimizing the toxins in our lives. So where is it found? Non-stick cookware, and also face masks. right? So I was a little bit blown away to hear this. Dr. Lauren uses face masks every now and then, just to clean up her skin, and all that stuff's really good for your health. But I was shocked, but I guess I was reading up on it through the EWG, and basically what they found was that all these non-stick Teflon chemicals are in the face mask, so that you can literally peel them off after they dry up. So you have to be very cognizant. So exiting conventional, whereas the convention of our world is to use non-stick because it's super easy, right? The other side of that is that we are switching all of our cookware, pots and pans, to stainless steel. And again, it is to minimize those chemicals. And, sometimes being healthy and doing the right thing comes at a cost. It is a little bit harder to cook with stainless steel, and cast iron is a great option as well. Dr. Lauren still has not figured out how to cook an egg in a stainless steel pan, right? And it gets all stuck on the bottom still, but that has everything to do with her patience level, and she wants to cook really fast. But either way, so sometimes being healthy comes comes with some amount of difficulty, and even some amount of upfront cost. Just switching your pots and pans to a different type of brand is but in the end, it makes all the dividends, because in life, you're either moving forward with your health or you're moving backwards. And if you're not actively taking care to minimize the chemicals and toxins, then you're going to, at some point, you're going to have to pay for it in the future with your health, as opposed to paying that upfront cost of simply switching your pots and pans. Next thing is plastics, right? If you just looked around your world right now, so just looking everywhere in our recording studio here, there's plastic everywhere, right? The plastic has completely impermeated our world, and it was a really sad study, at least for me. I love nature, and that's one of the biggest reasons that we moved to Colorado Springs, is to be closer to nature and closer to the mountains and the forest. But one study I read was that even in the most remote places, so the Pyrenees Mountains, this place that was just about untouched by humankind, they found plastics. They found these microplastics there. So plastics are everywhere. And problem with plastics is that in your body, they have the ability to mimic hormones. They're called xenohormones, or xenoestrogen in particular. So now all of a sudden, through these chemicals, because of the plastics, your body thinks that it has the perfect balance of hormones, when in actuality, your hormone balance is way off. So women's health in particular, if your body thinks that it has the estrogen that it needs, but it doesn't, obviously that's going to throw off all of your hormones. It's going to throw off your normal cycles throughout your life. And men in particular, hear this well, guys, is that men struggle with this just as much as women. So estrogen and testosterone, they balance each other out. So if your body thinks that it has a ton of estrogen, it's going to drop your testosterone levels way down. So men, all of a sudden, you have these energy issues, your inability, your lack of motivation. I call it gumption, right? That's what it feels like to have a lot of testosterone, is that you just have more vitality and gumption in your life, and you just have more energy to work out and things to go out and explore the world the way that God intended men. But either way, when these plastics are coming into our lives, is disrupting those normal hormone balances, disrupting our hormone health and reproductive health in particular. So we have to take a hard look at where are these chemicals coming from. And the number one place that the plastics are coming in and disrupting our bodies is as it pertains to your food. Right. So if you think about this, if there's any plastics on your food, now you're going to eat that food, and all of a sudden you're ingesting these microplastics. So anytime that you are containing and storing food, think about this: switching from plastic to glass or stainless steel containers. Same thing with your water bottles. So if you drink a lot of water out of plastic water bottles, that water's been sitting in that plastic for a long time, and it's absorbing the microplastics that, again, are going to be disrupting your health. Same thing. Another thing is warming your food. So I'm not going to talk about microwaves here today, but warming your food in plastics. Anytime that you warm something up, it frees up those chemicals that is going to seep into your food even more. So number one, start switching to glass and stainless steel containers and water bottles. And same thing, do not heat and eat any food that's been warmed up in plastic containers. Water, right? So water is one of the essential elements of life. It's like we all require water. We talk about this a lot. It's like you can go months or at least a month without food. You can go only about a few days without water, right? So it's one of the most important things in our lives. And problem with water is where we're getting it from. So most people, we just drink tap water, right? Whatever is coming out of the faucet. Now, problem with that is again with the EPA, they found that there are on average 84,000 different chemicals in your tap water. Things like pesticides, things like herbicides, formaldehyde, fluoride that's put there on purpose, chlorine that's put there on purpose, even petrochemicals, right? So think about, again, it breaks down to plastics, and it breaks down, it's actually what they found is that there is a ton of pharmaceuticals that are coming in through your tap water, right, for varying reasons. But at some point in our lives, you have to take a big step back and like, how good is my water that I'm putting into my body? And what they found, the EPA, again, they went through and they did the study, and they found that we are exposing ourselves on average to 25 gallons of water every single day. Now, especially in your shower. So if you're taking a shower in this toxic water, you're exposing yourself to all those chemicals. And what they found is that 25% of the water that's pouring into you from the shower gets absorbed into your body, right? Or not 25% of the water, 25% of the chemicals get absorbed into your body. That is the equivalent of drinking 8 glasses of toxic water every single day. And again, the reason why is because when you're in the shower, it's opening up your pores. The skin is allowing these toxins to come pouring into your body. So not only are you pouring the toxic shampoo on yourself, your shower is literally pouring the toxic water on you. So it comes from your shower, it comes from your drinking water, it comes from the ice cubes that you're drinking or eating every single day. So you have to start taking a look at how good is the water that I'm putting into myself, and how can I start minimizing the chemicals. So as opposed to tap water, right, we're not going to drink the tap water anymore. 84,000 chemicals on average is way too many. So you have to start thinking about either just a shower and drinking water filter or an entire whole house filtration system, which is the highest level. Now, Dr. and Lauren and I, we rent our house at the moment. So obviously we're not going to do a whole house filter. Number one, that's an investment that we're just not into our own property. But what we have done is we've gone through and we've put filters on everything, everywhere we come into contact with water. So if you can see down here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yep. So Berkey water filters. So Berkey is an awesome organization, an awesome company that they do an incredible job with their water filtration system. So we have a filter that we use for our drinking water, and we put Berkey water filters on every shower that we have. So we know that we're not pouring those toxins into us when we're trying to clean and be healthy and have good hygiene, right? Highest level here is probably your reverse osmosis filters. So you can do under the sink or in shower, or you can do whole house reverse osmosis filters. So that's a super high level that it takes everything out of the water, right? So there is nothing left but water. Now, problem with that is that it does come with some side effects, and that you're also removing all the good things out of the water. So if you're doing RO water, you need to be looking into a good source of minerals to be putting back into the water to make sure that you're getting everything that your body needs. So avoiding tap water, making sure that we're filtering everything that's coming into us. Foods, we talk about this all the time. Food is probably the number one source of toxins in our lives, right? The EPA, or the FDA allows over 3,000 artificial chemicals into our food supply, right? So literally our government has said that there's 3,000 chemicals that are allowed to be in your food. Right? So that's not a God-made thing, right? God didn't make our food to be full of chemicals. God made food perfect for human health and human abundance, right? So God made foods, and now man has come along and said, no, we know better. We're going to add all these different chemicals that man made into our food, into our colorings. More often than not, is to make more money for the big companies so that they can sit on the shelves for longer, make things taste better. Again, coming down to marketing. So at some point, you have to take a step back. It's like, is this food building health in my body, or is it building sickness and disease? Because anything that you put in your body is always building you up or breaking you down. So you have to look at what's going into your body. So number one thing, MSG, monosodium glutamate, right? So most of us know this as the Chinese spice, right? The Chinese additive. So MSG is a neurotoxin, and it is in way more things than you think. So they don't put just MSG on the labels anymore. Again, with their marketing, they do clever things that they can jump through these hoops, and they don't have to put it on the labels anymore. So MSG as a neurotoxin, aspartame, and any artificial sweetener that's chemical derived, again, they're neurotoxic. And things like Diet Cokes or diet beverages, like, one of the number one side effects of artificial sweeteners is that they make you gain weight, right? Because they're toxic to your body stores toxins in fat cells. So when you're storing toxins in fat cells, you keep pouring more toxins in, your body's going to create more fat cells to store them all. So you are thinking that your Diet Coke and not drinking sugar is good for you. You're actually doing your body more harm than you are good, just because you're drinking that aspartame, that artificial sweetener. Nitrates, this is a huge thing in preserved meats, deli meats, slices. Even if it's the best thing in the whole world, you want to be avoiding deli meats just because of the preservatives, the nitrates in it, because again, it's having a impact on your overall health. Food colorings, right? So food should not be purple, or should not your artificial food colorings. Like, we have all these different things, and they're called blue tube, red 40. It sounds more like a football audible, quarterback calling an audible than any type of food that God intended. And again, biggest problem with this is that how much we're feeding it to our children. So sugary drinks, sports drinks, things of that nature, even baked goods anymore, they have these food colorings in them, and they're neurotoxic. So here you are, you feed your kid all these toxic chemicals at lunchtime, and you want them to go sit down right after lunch and sit down and do math, right? It's just not possible. Their nervous system is going berserk, and then they get labeled as ADHD as if they had a problem. They don't have a problem. They're just toxic, right? And so different sources of food coloring, food coloring drinks often get labeled as the biggest sorts of food coloring, but they also come in like your baked goods, even medications, right? So what color is your medication? It probably was not that color to begin with. It's because of a food coloring that was added into it. Now, there are some food colorings like beet extract, right? Beets are just a vibrant color, and so using beet extract is a very good food coloring. So just taking a look, and again, using that app, the EWG app, to make sure that your food is coming from great sources. Refined oils, so anything that has been processed and sitting in a box probably has refined rancid oils in it, and again, that's going to disrupt your hormone health. GMOs, so basically with genetically modified organisms, the way that this works is humans have taken these awesome God-made products, they took them into a lab and genetically modified them. They genetically modified them so that they grow taller, the crops would grow taller, they grow faster, they were resistant to the cold, but also they're resistant to this pesticides and the herbicides that they sprayed on them. Problem with that is that your body no longer recognizes those items that you're putting in as food, right? Because they're chemicals. They have literally they changed the DNA of them. Your body no longer recognizes them as healthy God-made products. So you have to start buying your foods non-genetically modified organisms, right? So non-GMO. And then the last thing here is glyphosate. Right. So imagine this. Imagine you're trying to be healthy. You're trying to do really well. You're eating well. You're wanting to lose weight. You make this big, awesome, healthy salad. Now you have all the fruits, all the vegetables. Everything's great. Everything came from God. And then you went into your garage and you grabbed a can of Roundup. Right. So the weed killer. You grab Roundup and you sprayed it all over your salad. It's like, are you going to eat that salad? Like, no, absolutely not. It's going to kill you. Right. If it doesn't kill you, you're going to get really sick. But problem is that that's exactly what's being sprayed on our crops every single day. So pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, all these things are being sprayed on our crops, and then you are eating those toxic crops, right? So again, when we're talking about toxins, how to minimize them, you have to be buying organic foods, and you have to be buying non-GMO, and making sure that you're not buying these processed food with all these different artificial garbage that are coming in. Here's this concept. So biotoxic accumulation. So this pertains to animals in particular. So let's jump to here. Like, you are what they ate. So as opposed to eating a bowl of salad that's sprayed with Roundup, your animal, your cow in particular, is eating an entire field of it, right? So not only are they getting just a little bit of the toxins, they're getting an entire crop full of those toxins as they're going up. So if a cow is eating toxic food, is that cow going to be healthy or sick? Right? Obviously, it's going to be sick. Is that sick cow going to produce healthy or sick products, cheeses, milks, etc.? It's going to be sick products. Is that cow going to produce healthy or sick meat? Right? It's going to be sick. So you have to be cognizant of what your cow is eating, how they're living. And so it's the easiest way to see this is fish with biotoxic accumulation. So like the lowest level, like krill, right? Krill are the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to fish and the sea life. Like they're just floating around eating bacteria basically. And then a bigger fish comes and eat the krill, and then a bigger fish comes and eat that fish, and then a bigger fish comes and eat that fish. And so the higher up the food chain you go, the more toxins that animal has accumulated, just because they're eating more and more of those animals that have eaten the toxins all the way down to the krill. So when you're thinking about products, animal products, you have to say, okay, how high up the food chain is this? So especially things like tuna or mackerel, say how high up the food chain are they? Maybe we need to start minimizing the amount of the larger fish, larger animals that you're coming in, especially with a cow. Again, that cow ate an entire field full of toxins, and that toxins start to accumulate in their tissues, start accumulating in their products. So anytime you're eating animal products, it has to be grass-fed cows, free-range, pasture-range chickens, wild-caught fish, because otherwise you're eating a ton of toxins that animal ate as well. Supplements, guys. Supplements is huge these days, right? This industry has exploded over the past decade or two. Everybody's taken some amount of supplements here, and you know the biggest reason why is because our soil has become depleted of minerals, right? Because of modern farming techniques, because of modern just abuse to the land, our soil is no longer has the vitamins and minerals or the minerals that it used to have. Right. And so now you could be eating the best organic, the best healthy salads every single day, zero chemicals, everything's organic, everything's non-GMO, nothing but broccoli and kale for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you're still going to be mineral depleted just because there's not enough minerals in the soil for those vegetables to even have. So at some point, we have to be supplementing our food supply. Now, again, back to the slides, like, are our supplements toxic? The industry of supplements is wildly unregulated, right? It's like you can make any supplement and just throw it out there and then and charge whatever you want for it. And again, if you're good at marketing, people will buy it up, and here you think you're getting the best supplements in the whole world, but you're not getting any of the things that they're actually claiming that are in it. So a couple things that you should be looking for in the supplements. Again, we already talked about this, but exactly like your food, there should be no artificial flavors. There should be no colorings. There should be no fillers. There should be no additives. They should basically be broken down versions of plants, roots, vegetables, things of that nature, right? Because that is the most bioavailable sources, things that God made, and then you put them in a supplement form to give to humans, right? So that's exactly what you should be looking, the closest to natural as humanly possible. So dehydrated fruits and vegetables, that's what we sell in our Max screens, is basically it's just a whole bunch of organic, healthy fruits and vegetables that are freeze dried, and they're put into a pill form so that you're getting a huge punch of vitamins and minerals just in that organic form and in a pill form. And, you know, I'm not going to go through all this, but, you know, Max Living, we talk about this a lot. It's like our supplements are by far the best supplements that I've ever found. There's a lot of other great brands out there, but Max Living in particular does the best job. And, you know, the number one reason why is because our products, our supplements were not designed for patients, right? They were designed for our doctors. They were designed for us. Because what happened was about a decade ago, there was such a huge need of good, healthy, clean supplements, and we just couldn't find them anywhere. So some of the leaders in our organization said, well, you know what? We're going to start making our own, and we're going to regulate it ourselves. So every supplement that we sell is of the highest standard because it's for us, first, and we want to make sure that we're putting the best, highest quality possible into our bodies, and it's a happy byproduct that we're able to turn that around and give it to our patients. And a really interesting thing, one of my good friends, he went out and he did this study on his own. He said, is this really true? Is Max Living really that much better? And so what he did is he rounded up, and so it's turmeric. He gathered up a bunch of turmeric supplements and he took them to this testing agency, one of his good friends that he knew, and he told this guy's like, look, go and test these things and tell me what the content was. And these are not specific numbers, but the percentages are the same. What he found was that he went through and did 10 of them. One of them was ours. So what he found was that whereas the average product that he was testing, and these were super high quality, he tested them where they said that there's like 100 milligrams of turmeric within that supplement. On average, he found that there was 1 milligram of turmeric, whereas opposed to ours, there's actually more. There's 105 milligrams, whereas we were saying that there's only 100, right? So you have to be so cognizant of your supplements and use that EWG app, because they also do supplements as well. So guys, just know that anytime that you're buying Max Living products, you're getting the highest quality possible. So here we talked an awful lot about how to minimize the chemicals and start exiting that convention, what the conventional world does. But now let's talk a little bit about how to make sure that we're getting the chemicals out in the best way possible. And so this is something that I'm really excited about. This is one of our new supplements that has come out. It's called Max Cleanse. So you guys have probably seen our Detox system, right? So Detox system is basically the way that it works is that it supports your body's own ability to detoxify. So it gives your body all the things that it needs to get the, number one, there's 2 of them, right? So it's a system. You get the chemicals out of your cells, and then once they're out of your cells, you get the chemicals out of your body. Now, Detox system is not meant to take daily. So Dr. Lauren and I do this once a quarter, twice a year at the least. But it's not something that you're supposed to be doing just daily. It's something that is just, there's some chemicals in me and I need to get them out in a big way. So this might be a great place to start. If you said, the past year I've dumped nothing but fragrance, or dumped nothing but cleaners into my body, I've disinfected everything for the past year, you probably want to start here just to kickstart your body detoxing as fast as possible. Again, when the water comes into your boat, you got to get it out as quickly as possible to get to that place that you can just maintain. Now, Max Cleanse is a new product that is intended to take daily, right? It's just giving your body the support that it needs to get those chemicals that are coming in every single day. So even though we're minimizing from 2 million chemicals a day down to as few as possible, still we want to be able to support our body and get all the junk out, because again, you could be eating the best diet in the world and still need some outside support. So Max Cleanse as a daily detox, and then Detox system if you know that you need to get these things out of you as quickly as possible. I'll briefly say this. I want to touch on a couple of different supplements that if you're starting to think that you have any kind of hormone issues, right? So daily essentials for men and women. This is a relatively new product, but it is awesome. I've been taking it for the past 6 months or so, and just the difference that I've seen in my own life, just energy levels and all that, it's just been through the roof, and I've been so happy with it. But one of the things that this daily essentials has in particular is that it has specific blends for men and for women and their specific needs as it pertains to hormone health. So for men, it actually helps to boost testosterone levels, minimizing estrogen levels so that you're feeling that gumption, that vitality in your life. Women, it has the exact same thing as blends for breast health, reproductive health, so that you know that you're giving your body all the tools that it needs to survive and thrive the way that God intended to. It also has fish oil, has vitamin D, which is essential to just about every process in human life. Also magnesium, has vitamin B complex, and so tons of great options in there. Now, I will say this, I don't have a slide on it, but if you think that you are over the top, right? If you think that you need to start doing something radical to start balancing your hormones naturally, number one, start by doing the things that we just listed, exiting conventional, cleaning up, minimizing the toxins in your life, go through the detox system, get all the garbage out of you. But then you just need to start supporting your body. So for men, there's a supplement that we recently just started selling. It's called Max Vitality, right? And all it is a supplement that gives your body all the things that it needs to create testosterone. Right. So if you feel like you're sluggish, you've lost some energy, you lost some of that gumption in your life, Max Vitality is a great place for men to start to get on get everything perked back up and boosted again. Now, women, we also have what's called the Women's Hormone Balance Blend. And so again, it's just a great way of supporting your body and giving your body everything that it needs so it can produce those hormones and balance you out as naturally as possible. Let's touch on this really quick, guys, just because, this past year, there has been a lot. There has been a lot of fear. There's been a lot of negativity, and it keeps pouring in. And I just keep waiting for the day that it stops. Is like we have been cornered in this position that we're just constantly bombarded with bad information, negative information that isn't necessarily true, but is creating so much stress and anxiety in our bodies that we don't even know what to do with ourselves anymore. And problem with this negativity and fear is that it has a hormone response, right? Your not cholesterol, I'm sorry, your cortisol levels spike through the roof. And what research has found is that the number one way to destroy your immune system is through fear. Right. So think about this last year. How much fear, anxiety, and worry did you feel over the past year? And so we have to start getting out of this toxic negativity, toxic fear, because it's having a huge impact, not just on your overall hormone balance, but your health in particular. The worst time of the whole world to have a decreased immune system is when there's a pandemic, right? We're not going to talk about that, I promise. But the worst time of the whole world is to have a decreased immune system is when there's something that's actually going around killing people. So if you want to live in a state of positivity or a state of health and happiness, you have to start switching your thinking and figuring out exactly where all that stuff's coming from. So in exiting conventional, we are going to detox your mind, right? And I think this is so cool. And if you guys actually did this, your life is going to turn around for the best, right? So number one thing, and I love this, the number one thing that you can do to drastically improve your life, improve your relationships, improve the time that you spend with your kids, with your spouse, all those things, delete social media. Social media has never served you for the good. The only reason that Dr. Lauren and I have social media at this point, if you're friends of ours on social media, you know we don't push anything outside of the office. And the only reason we do anything on the office is just to be able to reach people, knowing that it is a thing and that there are millions of people out there that need help out there. So deleting social media, I challenge you, do it for a week. Don't just avoid it. Go and delete the apps. You can always re-download the apps. Go delete the apps on your phone for the next week and see how drastically your life changes. Second thing is turn off the news, right? There is nothing good that comes out of the news. Now, one thing that you will find if you delete social media and you turn off the news, you'll start looking at your life around you and you'll see that life isn't so bad, right? The world's not ending. Things are actually going relatively well more often than not. You're just seeing all the negative sides of things because that's all that you're getting poured into from those media outlets, right? So if you go and delete the apps, you go and turn off the news and just start practicing presence, right? So just be present in the moment and say to yourselves, like, what's going on here? Like what is happening, what is actually happening, as opposed to what am I being told is happening. And you'll likely see that life is way better than you thought it was. And then last thing here, guys, is practicing daily gratitudes. Like, it is impossible to experience a negative emotion while you're feeling grateful. Right. So research says is that when you're in a state of a gratitude, it changes your biochemistry. It changes your neurotransmitters from a state of stress, anxiety, depression, angst to a state of happiness, joy, abundance, seeing all the positives, seeing all the blessings that you have in your life. So literally starting every single day just by saying, God, thank you for X, Y, and Z. Thank you for the things that you have given me. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my ability to take care of myself. Thank you for the information that I can do these things. Thank you for Dr. Mark taking his time to do all this. I'm just kidding, right? Whatever it is that you're grateful for, just leaning into that every single day. And I guarantee you, you're going to see a radical change in your life. But you guys know none of this means anything without your nervous system. If you're a patient in ours, you already know this. If you're taking care of your spine and your nervous system, if you're already going to a chiropractor, you already know this, just because the only way that your body can detoxify, the only way that your body can create normal, healthy hormones in your body is through your nervous system. And so it's essential to be taking care of your spine, because it is your spine's job to surround and protect your nervous system. And any dysfunction of your spine is going to cause dysfunction of your nervous system. That's called a subluxation. And it is these subluxations that are ultimately preventing you from living a life of happiness, of wholeness that God has intended for you. And one quick concept that I want to touch on here is the concept of time and timing, right? So just imagine if all those hormones, there's thousands of hormones that are being created every single moment, and whether you're toxin free or have chemicals in your body, it doesn't matter. It's like your body is creating the exact right hormones at the exact right time, unless there's interference. So what if your body was just creating one hormone off by just a millisecond? All of a sudden, your stress hormones arrive just a millisecond too late, and your body's not able to turn into that fight or flight system. And now the bear that's attacking you, just because there's a delay in the timing, all of a sudden the bear is overtaking you, and you're not able to fight or flight, run away from it, just because there is a delay in the timing. Right. So that's one concept of your nervous system, is that your spine and nervous system have to be flowing perfectly with zero interference, just so that your body can function appropriately in the right time at the right moment, always doing the right thing. Now, guys, so if you're not taking care of your nervous system, if you're not getting adjusted, let's get you plugged in. First step here, you got to get checked. Right? So what's going on? What have you dealt with in your life? What kind of traumas have you had? Micro traumas, major traumas? What kind of posture do you have? Anything along those lines? What kind of toxins do you have? Just because toxins and chemicals have a huge impact on your spine and your nervous system. And next step is x-rays. Always taking x-rays to make sure that your doctor knows exactly what they're doing, to make sure that they are correcting the cause of these problems, not just making you feel a little bit better here and there. And if you are a patient in our office, dive back in, right, guys? This is your opportunity. This is your call to action. It's like, are you doing your home care 1 to 2 times a day the way that you were prescribed? Are you coming in for your adjustments? Because research says that even after just missing 2 weeks of being adjusted, if you're not being adjusted a minimum of every other week, you are actively moving backwards with your spinal health. Right? So your body, your spine degenerates at a rate of 7% every year, and that's cumulative. That's compounding. So if you're not actively taking care of your nervous system, it is actively getting worse because of that compounding effect. So guys, dive back in. If you haven't been checked, let's get you checked. Make sure that your body's functioning and healing the way that God intended to. Next steps, guys. So throughout the entire month of April, we're going to be doing spring cleaning, right? And so one of the coolest things that we're doing, so as a part of Max Living, being at Max Living Health Center, we're doing this 30-day detox guide, which is so cool. It's technically a drip campaign that if you text the term 30 detox without a space, 30 detox to our phone number, 719-419-7955. You're going to be automatically enrolled into our 30-day detox guide. And so every day for 30 days, you're going to be dripped, constantly poured in small amounts of information. A lot of the stuff that I just went through, guys, can be overwhelming. Right? I got to throw out my pots and pans. I got to throw out all my containers. I got to change my filters. I got to do all these. Change all my beauty products. Like, that's a lot if you do it all right now. That's exactly why we're doing this 30-day detox guide, because over the course of the next month, we're going to be able to slowly pour into you how to do it most effectively. So text that code 30 detox to 719-419-7955. Give it about 5 minutes. It takes it a minute to register, get you in the system, but then you'll get a text message that says that to be on the lookout for your first day. And we're also going to be following up with that stuff here in the office. So like I just said, the entire month of April, we're doing spring cleaning, detoxing our life. your next opportunity, right? So if this is something that you've been struggling with, if something that you're working on, or maybe you just need the next step in health, we touched on one of the essentials here today, that being detoxifying or minimizing toxins. The next opportunity for Health Essentials Dinner is April 8th. Now, that's free for all of our patients, or it's a part of all of our patients' care that you come in and learn all those essentials, get some very actionable takeaways that you can start being healthy and happier as soon as possible. But it's also one of your best opportunities to get the people that you love and that you know need some help with their health here in our community. And like I said, our vision and mission of Northgate Family Chiropractic is not just to help you and your family, it's to help everyone in our community and live a better life. So like, think about, who do you know? Who do you know that's been suffering with headaches, reproductive issues, with that, dealing with chronic disease, that's been dealing with pain, that needs to come in and hear this information? And what I have found is that the vast majority of the people that listen to these things, they generally just take away some really good information. But it's your responsibility to take care of yourself. But it's also your responsibility, now that you know these things, to go out and tell the people that are still suffering, that might not know it, and give them the opportunity to start making some changes in your life. So see the team up front if you want to get scheduled for that time. Bring in as many guests as possible. It's a ton of fun. We talk about every aspect of health. I pay for all the food. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great opportunity to get your friends and your family under care, so that we can all start moving towards a much better, healthier community here in Colorado Springs. So guys, I hope you enjoyed your time. Over the next month, we're going to be pouring information into it here in the office. So get logged into that 30-day drip campaign, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time. And if you have any questions, I'll be more